Hello, hello, hello. Here we are for another episode of Choose Your Path with me, your host, Sharontel Durskell, celebrity publicist, motivational speaker, and number one international best-selling author of the number one habit series for entrepreneurial success. Hello, Wasted Studio. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Yes, I am ready to go. Oh my goodness. I was like trying to put the phone on this whatever this is that you call holding
Amount.
it older. Yeah, that. Thank you. And I'm like, what the heck? What? It was like all like this, and I was like this, and all over the place. So I am so happy for you to be here. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Of course,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so grateful to
Oh
be
my
part of this
goodness.
conversation with you.
Yes, we're finally here. Oh, he says I'm actually here in the business brief. Okay. Wouldn't miss it. Oh, wow. That is so awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here we are with Choose Your Path. Oh, hold on. Let me grab my paper here. Oh. So it's usually just an unscripted conversation, which I'm so happy that you agreed to do. Literally, it's just an unscripted conversation. I write a few things down just because I don't want to forget to ask. And what happened was, during our pandemic, I decided to go live with my friends and say, check, hey, what's up? How you doing? And then it actually turned into a thing. Yeah, choose your path. It actually turned into a thing. I'm like, okay, let's call it Choose Your Path so that maybe people can be inspired through the conversations, and then they find something in that conversation that sparks or disrupt the way that they're thinking so that they go out and create even during this time. So that's kind of the synopsis of this, is that you could create the life that you want, believe that it's possible, and trust the process, right? Because you got to trust the
I
process.
totally agree. Yeah, I think
You,
it's really
you agree?
important. I totally agree. Yeah, and then to choose your path is so it resonates with so many people, because everyone has their own path. What are we going to do with these precious days that we call our lives? And
Yes.
you know.
Yes, exactly. So let's do it. So I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Where are you from?
I'm originally from the United Kingdom, um, on the east coast. There's a small town called Great Yarmouth, and then I grew up as a military kid. I lived in Nebraska. I've lived in Texas. I've moved to Los Angeles, parts of the UK. Yeah, and now I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, wow. So you're a military kid, so you've probably been all over. Oh, goodness, how cool. Or was that cool? Was it cool?
I think it's really
Because,
cool,
everyone has
and it
their
was
own
really fun.
experience. They're like, oh, I was everywhere. I've been everywhere. Some people don't like it, but how did you like? You
Yeah,
liked it?
I really liked it. I think the part of the military experience that, that's usually shared and showcased, because my dad served in the Air Force for 22.5 years. So the long deployments were really tough. And my mom had to act as, as a single mother. So all the strong women out there to look after me and I have another brother, younger brother too, for really supporting us and being there while, my dad's serving this country, and for all the people who have served, just whole debt for that too. But it's one of those things, like when your
Yes.
parents serve, the family also serves too. So I also
Everyone
try to advocate
does.
for military kids, everyone, for sure. Yeah,
Wow, yes. Ooh, thank your dad for his service and all of the other servicemen
yeah,
and women out there. We really appreciate them for keeping us safe, right?
exactly.
How's your experience been during this pandemic? And have you learned any lessons? Any lessons learned during this time?
I think I think a lot of us have learned a lot of lessons during this pandemic. For me, For me, I work as a media relations director for a children's company. And so we work directly with educators and parents, counselors. We help kids become happier, healthier, more confident with like mental health and social emotional wellness stuff too. So I really empathize with the educators going from, teaching in person to a virtual hybrid situation. Um, and just I like some of them just cry their eyes out, and it's really
Oh.
heartbreaking. Um, and so we've been trying our best to really support them and like here's some resources and stuff like that. But yeah, the company, because I work with a South African children's author and an
Mm-hmm.
illustrator, and he's a TV personality too, and his motto is kindness. He tries everything he does as a tap of a spark of light that he brings to other people. His name is Trevor Romain. That's the company he's part of. And that's been my inspiration. And he usually gives a global tour. So he goes and presents presentations to kids, and he brings up tough topics like bullying and divorce, deployments, um, dealing with homework, staying healthy, all these really clicks, um, all sorts of topics. Moving is another one.
Mm-hmm.
And it really hurt the company when, you can't travel, you got to do everything. So we had to be more creative. So we provided video ebooks for parents and
Oh,
families. And
wow.
we made our digital downloads of the animation series more accessible for educators so they can share it on Zooms and stuff like that too. So yeah.
I was wondering too, because I've been talking to all the big people. But
Yeah.
I've been wondering, before the pandemic, I would travel to the schools and talk to the kids, and the title was You Are Enough, because I was bullied as a
Yeah.
child in
Me
school, and
too.
it was not fun. And for a very long time, I did not feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like I was pretty enough. I didn't feel like I was big enough. My nose was too big, my head, all of these things that they bully, that it was just very cruel. And
Yeah.
so now we're in this climate where everyone is like, now we're inside, we don't have any kind of like social, that human connection that
Yeah.
we all really need. It's something with that vibration and frequency when you're in the room with your friends and you get to, hang out with your friends. Now we're all inside. So it's like, what does that look like? I want to talk to kids and ask them, like, how are they feeling? And, I talk to so many adults, and I want to know, like, that's amazing where you're. Have you been able to talk to any of the children and see how what they're experiencing, and what does that look like?
Yeah, it's because I also have a younger brother. He's like 10 years old. His name is Nick. So I also get to see how his experience going from a in person to a virtual side. And one of the things that always make me laugh with him is everyone's all the class is trying to pay attention to the lesson, and then he'll go and point out as like guys, and then they'll go into breakout rooms, and he'll be like, we should be playing on Fortnite, and you'll see the teacher pop in, and they'll catch each other out, because there's so
Eh,
many distractions now, especially
So
access online
many.
and stuff. So yeah, he's one of them like, oh, I don't think we should be paying attention. We can play with our games later on, but that's always funny. Um, yeah, it's just the focus and the homework has been the biggest challenge I've been seeing with kids, especially with this experiences
Oh
with Trevor, because he's doing virtual
gosh.
stuff as well. Yeah,
Yeah, because I have the 14-year-old son, so he's doing virtual, and that is the number one thing that we have. Is like, turn your desk around so we can see, and then you can tell that when you walk away, he's like on playing football or group chatting or doing all kinds of other things other than being in the classroom. So you're absolutely, I 110% agree with you. And then sometimes, like when he's showing me his schoolwork or lessons or whatever. And he's like, yeah, this is what I have to do. And I'm like, I don't even know if he actually did it or if it's actually done or what I'm looking at unless I go into my classroom to see what the lessons are and what to do. Isn't that, I
yeah,
couldn't even imagine when I look back at my school experience and imagine their experience today. So that's very interesting. Wow. You guys have a great, important job, our future leaders. of the world. So kudos to Trevor Romaine Company, right? Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah.
I pronounced it right, I hope. Okay,
Yeah, of
cool.
course. Yeah, it's
Um,
perfect. Yeah.
one of my biggest lessons that I learned in this pandemic is that I felt I'm not in control. I always feel like I'm looking at my calendar that I have here. I always feel like when I'm filling up my calendar and I got my dates, my times, I know who I'm going to be talking to,
Hmm.
where I'm going to be. And then two
Something
weeks
happens.
in, yeah, everything canceled. And then I felt my biggest lesson was is that I'm not in control.
Hmm.
I'm
My
not in control.
biggest my biggest thing to that would be, you know, control the things that you can control and then surrender the ones that you can't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
On your previous, Choose Your Path, you talk about the lessons from TD Jakes,
Yes,
and
so many.
so many nuggets from him. But like, yeah, definitely, release and then you'll find out like when you put out the goodness, it's like the third rule of motion, from Newton's law, every action, every you get the action back. So
Reaction.
putting it out, you'll
Yes,
see coming back, like karma. So putting good karma,
that's
you'll see it
true.
come back to you. So yeah,
Isn't that something about decisions and choices? Like it doesn't matter when we talk about choose your path. If you choose to go down this path and you know in your heart and you feel that it's not right, but you choose to go there anyway, then you have to be open to receiving whatever the results are going to be because that's what you chose. That's the beautiful thing about human nature is that we actually have a choice. Even though
yeah,
people say that we don't, we really do. We can't choose what the external events are, of course, but we can choose how we're looking at it. We can choose like everything that we need is like right inside. So that one of my other lessons that I learned from Bishop Jakes is making sure that the people that I'm surrounded by is feeding me and not needing me. Meaning
exactly.
that, I was telling
Hmm.
someone that, yes, I'm like, you better be careful with that. I'm telling you, because we're all working on a limited resource. I don't care how fabulous, you're fabulous, by the way. I'm fabulous. We're all fabulous, but we are limited resources. And if you're constantly giving, 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 and you're not really receiving that back, you're going to be depleted and you're going to be, I
Exactly.
don't know, you're not going to be,
Hmm.
you're not going to be productive whatsoever. So, yeah, I learned so many.
Right.
I love that guy. Like, I absolutely
Yeah.
love him to
There's
death.
so, there's
I
so
was
many
so happy
lessons
to
too,
share the
and like,
stage with him.
yeah, of course.
Hello, everyone. Let's just say hello to everyone for a moment. There are just way too many. I don't know. You brought them all out. We see numbers,
So amazing. I'm
Stanley.
just so grateful everyone's here and sharing the nuggets and
Yeah, me
comments.
too. I really, really, really appreciate that. I seen a compliment somewhere, not the glam all the way. Thank you. I know they must be talking to you. Oh my goodness. It was one about the children and how much you meant to them. Oh, sending love from Australia. Hello, Australia. That is beautiful. I'm actually here.
Wow,
Business
it's
brief. I
Joan.
don't
I know
know. It went
Joan.
by so fast. Yeah, yeah. Trust the process. Exactly. I've learned to say fall in love with the process. There was a
Yes, really.
question.
Yeah,
I've been fall in love with it, right?
yeah.
I know we
Fall
got
in
like a
love with
little
it,
delay.
and yeah, really appreciate every step, even the not so good steps. Some experiences like choosing your path. Like I grew up through the entertainment industry, and it changes every time because of like layoffs and stuff like that. And there was one time I did get laid off,
Yes.
and I was like,
Uh,
and I thought I was in my dream role, and then it was taken away. And I know a lot of people would be going through that, especially from 2020 or going into now. Like, especially at the beginning of the month, is usually another time where that instances, and it's you really think like, oh, I hit a road end. It's a dead end.
mm,
Where do I go from here? And yeah, that's where the support comes in. When people take, those are the people, who really be there for you during those hardships and those down. Those are the ones who really deserve to be in your life. So really keeping those people
absolutely.
around does so many wonders for sure.
Yes, it does because they remind you, and not that we don't know, but they give you a reminder of like, are you kidding me? Like, let's do this. You got this. What's inside? What do you want to do? Let's strategize a plan. Let's figure this out. You're absolutely right. But those that don't, They won't do that. They'll be gone with a win. Actually, you won't even see them. They would not even be around for that. I've been on Clubhouse lately like a crazy person. I'm calling myself that because it's like I'm like I need to go to sleep. What time is it? But it was one of those questions, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring that up to Alex and see what his answer would be."
Yeah.
The question was, "Is what's the relationship between success and failure as an entrepreneur?" For me, I always think that I literally fail my way to whatever that definition of success is. It changes all the time for me. It's not necessarily attached to money. It's always just attached to making sure that I'm always bringing value, that I'm living in my purpose. I don't want to not be not aligned with that. So that's my biggest thing. I just fell my way there and be okay with it. What about you? Like success and failure, those two words. What's that relationship for you?
Um, I don't know. Failure is always a tricky word for me to go with. My thing is just like um, moving it into a new direction. You know, okay, we're gonna hit. Okay, failure. Okay, this way did not work. Okay, let's try plan A and plan B. Let's try this way out. You know, there's always every time you get to breathe in air when you wake up and have a sense of gratitude, then you're here. There's a reason why you're here. You know, and
Yes.
that means something.
Mm.
You know, yeah. And I always do that. Like even like if I'm getting an accolade or whatever, I tell people like take 10 seconds and think of all the people that help you get to this point where you are right now. You know, all that time like, oh, this is gonna,
Mm.
I can't get through this. Um, okay, you've gone through this part. You can definitely get through this other stuff because you've gone through that before. You know,
If we made it to this moment, you
yeah,
can definitely get through it, right?
yeah.
Let's thrive. That's what my hoodie says. Let's thrive through this. Absolutely. I know. I can hear you. It's better said than done. Absolutely. But there's no way out other than to go through it. So let's figure it out in a healthy, a great way. So you're absolutely right. I was talking to an amazing guy, Prince Daniels Jr. He's a former NFL running back, but now he's a high performance mentor. And he was on the show, and we were talking about meditation. And I think that is, do you try meditation?
I do. I do
Oh,
it.
I do
I do it 20
every day.
minutes a day. I did at the beginning. I was like, "What is this?" I did it through Deepak Chopra and Oprah. They used to do a 21-day meditation challenge.
Oh, I used to do
Um,
that in the email.
yeah, you
Did it
get
come
the
in? Yeah,
emails.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I was like, okay, I'm ready.
So I
Gratitude at its finest. I love that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I started out doing okay. I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do 20 minutes at the beginning. So at the film, I did 5 minutes. If I give myself 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, I'll
Yes.
go and do it. And then it just grew over time. Like I did 20 minutes, and this actually kind of kept me focused. After if there's so much chaos in the world, it makes you focus and be
Oh,
still,
God, it's here.
and focus on you focus on your breath. You focus on like a mantra. Um,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of been it's been I got because I used to worry I got this to do, I got to do this and do this, and if I didn't take the time to like pause and focus on one thing, then I would be more coordinated. So it's really helped me in so many different ways. Yeah.
That is so funny. Yeah, because at first when I was sitting down, I was like, okay, I got to figure out what am I going to eat when I get out of here. Like when I'm done with this, I don't really get this. Am I doing this right? It was the monkey mind is what they call it, right? And then before I knew it, I started visiting the meditation centers in New York City. And it was so funny when I first went, I was sitting on the little pillow and I was looking around and peeking. I had the book and I'm like, what is this? And everybody was so quiet. I'm like, oh my God, I might fall asleep because it's dark with the candle. But then as I continue
Exactly.
to practice, and that's the thing, trusting, that's what it sounds like you did. It's like okay with being 5 minutes. If it's 5 minutes, be 5 minutes. But it really brings a grounding balance and a foundation to your day. Like starting with the meditation and the gratitude. A lot of people say that they don't have time. And that's the thing that I learned from Chris Daniels Jr. is that he said, when people say that, I tell them, what's the first two letters in meditation? Me. So you're saying that you don't have time for you. We
Time for
have to make
yourself.
time. Right. So it's like I always say that, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna use that all the time. That is too cute. I never thought about that. So if you don't have time for meditation, you're literally saying you don't have time for you. Me. I have to make time for me.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely necessary, and it is the best thing that has ever been introduced to my life. And I've been doing it for over 10 years now, and I absolutely love it. I think the longest I can do, and I don't know if anyone even counts, I don't know if that even matters, but I can do like 2 hours easily. If it's in a space, a feng shui space, I can definitely do 2 hours easy. Yeah.
Hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
He spent 10 years in a monastery. I was like, wow. Like he went from playing ball on the field to 10 years in a monastery. So I know that he definitely is a high performance mentor when it comes to up here. I think that is absolutely amazing.
Right.
Let's talk about a little bit of your background, some of the networks that you affiliated with, and maybe you can even share like why you decided to work with them, and
Yeah, I guess one of the associations that my communities kind of know me by is my connection with Oprah Winfrey.
yes, I've
That
seen the
was
picture
kind
stat.
of, and it's her recent birthday too, so that was something. But that came up so unexpectedly, but it also came in at the precise and divine time too. So when I grew up in the UK, everyone's watching a show at 4 p.m. and stuff like that. And then I used to be the person who loves going to school. Apart from the days when I was getting bullied, then I did not want to go to school. Um, and then, so the days I was sick, I was like, I want to go back and stuff like this. And mom said, you need to rest. And I said, like, I need to find a way to educate myself or learn something. So when I go back to school, I have something to share. And I used to put her show on, and I'll be like, okay, what did you learn when you were out sick? And I said, I watched this for a show. I couldn't do anything else about get better. Well, anyway, fast forward to when she just wrapped up her 25th year on her show, and she was starting her network. She had this high caliber of like, okay, she's going to be on the top and stuff like this. And when she does the
Yes.
network, she's going to be on top. And it didn't, she got blasted from the pet press and all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember
that's
that.
kind of like, and during that time is when I kind of got introduced back to her. And I was just like, I get someone who's been very intentional with their life, really knows the purpose and the driven. I wanted to be that person to support the world and the gift that she brings. So I'm a part of this support group. They call the own ambassadors, the owners, and she also now calls us light carriers, bringing shines of light around the world. And we've been there promoting her network and promoting all the different initiatives that she's done and stuff like that. Um, and that really opened up like my world to social media because I was just about finished like with high school. That's when I jumped on with Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff because I wanted to connect with my friends
Twitter.
in the military world. And yeah, after people I graduated with, we'll grow up together and see what's going on. Yeah, Twitter too. Yeah, and then I started promoting and stuff like that. And by the time college came around, was internships, and then that's when Entertainment Tonight kind of approached because they saw the relationship, and then she started following me on Twitter. So that was a whole other thing. I was running like the Super Bowl like almost like 8 years ago, and then I was like, yeah, I can do some social media for the TV show, especially for Entertainment Tonight that's been around longer than her show has. Um, and then I did some graphic design stuff too. And then like my direction in entertainment kind of took a switch because I wasn't going to go into entertainment. I was going to go into the automotive industry. I received a full-time scholarship from General Motors to do graphic design. I was like one of the first in the state of Texas to
Oh
do it.
wow.
So I was like, I'm going to honor Buick and General Motors, and I'm going to do this and work hard and bring up for people of color that they can do this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when the social media came up and entertainment, I was like, oh, I didn't know this. My path could take a shift. I thought like, okay, I'm going to get out of college, graduate,
Don't we
work in
think we
my
know
and
exactly?
then it takes a shift, and it's like one of those things. It's not called failure, but it's like one of those things also too. Like I say, let's take a shift in this direction. It could take you to somewhere else, and trust that
Trust in the
process. Like we
process.
said. Um, yeah, and then that kind of led to opportunities like working with the NAACP Image Awards. They reached out because they saw my coordination stuff,
I
and I kind
love
of
it.
ran up with volunteers, and we had to work the after party, and that's when like Danny Glover came in, and I met all these other people. But my thing is like you see all these celebrities that you're talking about, all these big name people. I just came like I'm meeting each
Um,
person where they're at, like just like our conversation right now. And I've always stayed true to that. Um, I don't get usually freaked out. Sometimes I do from every little bit, but I think just paying attention and active listening and stuff like that. So, yeah,
yeah,
every live is
active
perfect.
listening.
Yeah,
Active listening is a big one. I remember, no, I don't know if have I ever, yeah. Mm. Steve Harvey. I really wanted to meet him. I did. We shared stage together. But after, after the show, he dedicated some time. I was able to ask him questions. And one of my biggest things was is that he lived literally 10 blocks from where I grew up. So I just felt like we had a connection because we, same city. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is freaking phenomenal. I am so inspired. This is so crazy. But it just really felt like I was talking to my neighbor next door. Like that's what it felt like.
yeah.
But it was oh so real. But sometimes, along my journey, I had to learn to celebrate myself because I used to just go, go, go. Oh, you did that? Okay, it's time to go. Next project, project,
Yeah,
and never really sitting back and at least saying like, "Good job, Sharon. Tell you did it." Hey, and that has nothing to do with ego. Ego is nowhere in there whatsoever, but literally
no,
celebrating yourself. You were that once that little boy watching her on TV and, coming up with your own, and then there you
I
are
think
sharing this
about that.
space. Do you?
I think about
Yes,
the yeah,
beautiful.
I think about the because I used to be in special needs. I used to be in the special needs because the in my primary school, and they thought I was autistic, even though I know I didn't. And then there was a story, a quick one I can share. In
Yeah,
England
please.
they have standardized testing, like everything is, and then for special needs students, you usually provide like a modified test.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know I don't deserve
Yep.
this modified test. I know I can do this. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. And like, okay, how do I do this? And I said, well, you can after
Uh,
uh, classes to learn the English and the math and stuff like that. I said, okay, I'm down. So by the time the test came around, um, I worked at it. I was practicing myself, doing the practice, doing the work. Yolanda Van Zandt, because do the work,
Doing the
baby.
work.
Um, anyway, so yeah, I did the work and stuff like that, and then I got like an almost perfect score, and then um, the educators thought I was cheating. They thought I cheated on on those tests,
Wow. And
and
you're
then I
like,
was
I
like,
did the
okay,
work.
you think I was testing? I was just like, these accusations. I said, like, give me that test again. I'm going to do it again. And I almost duplicated the same scope, like by myself, everything. And then they were like, okay, this person does not deserve to be in the special needs thing. He needs to be up
You
to the
gotta,
level with
you
the
gotta
other
go.
students. You gotta go,
Yes.
but also respect that not. It goes back to the term like don't judge a book by its cover because everyone has their own path.
Uh,
Like choose your own path and story. There's certain reasons where you're in a certain place in your life, um, and I was like, I know I deserve better. So I always think about that boy who pushed himself and knew
mm-hmm.
that he could do it to reach these goals. So when I go back and you see these accolades, whatever, I go back to those principles and those values and going, being resilient is another one I usually tell
That's a
people
big
about.
one.
Going for
That's my
it is,
superpower.
yeah,
Speaking of superpower, yeah, because I was talking about this yesterday. I was like, what is your superpower? I'm gonna ask you that too. I feel like I think I got a couple of them, but I would definitely choose resilient because I've survived so many different things. Just being in a poverty-stricken neighborhood to surviving domestic violence to all of these pieces and threads of me to get to where I am. And I'm so grateful for it all. But in order to get through that, to get to this point, I would have had to activate resilience, go in the booth. I'm activating my resilience because I need to find my lesson, figure out that lesson, I need to get through this, and I need to come out even stronger and even better. And I do that every time with every situation. Activate the resilience. That's my superpower. What is your superpower?
Uh, that's a very good
if
one.
you
My
if you
thing
could
is,
name
I
one.
think I think it's I think it's like two. I have two. One is
Oh, yes.
empathy. Come to a place and try to understand where that person's coming from.
Yeah.
The other one is surprises. I love giving surprises to people. If it's so I've given over 20,000, and this has come from like raising money for charity to like you meeting your idol, for example, military reunions,
I love it.
um, family being connected and stuff like that. I love it. I don't, for me personally, I'm not a big fan of getting surprises myself. So some people try to do it
Hmm.
like, oh, Alex, thank you so much. I'm going to get you back. And I'm like, don't, because then I'm going to give you another one.
And it's going to
So,
keep on going. It's going to be the cycle of
yeah,
nature. Yes.
exactly. And the especially during 2020, because I did surprises prior to that too. People went back to those times of like, happiness can come to me, even though your world could be like shattered right now. You lost a job, you lost you lost a relative
Mm,
to the pandemic or another disease,
yes.
and then going back to those moments of like, why did this miraculous thing happen to me, and how do I pass that forward? So there's an act of kindness to pass it in your own way. So I always tell people, we all have something to contribute in this world. It could be
Yes,
words
we
of wisdom,
do.
it could be our craft, it could be, words or something. So I always sort of like, even if it's telling a child, like, I'm gonna be there for you, gonna give advice. Oh, I should check in with your friends. There could be something like that. There's always something we can do for each other to raise human consciousness up to a level.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I
Oh,
think
I
that.
love that. Yes, empathy is one of my biggies. It almost to the point where there's been times even on these conversations where I cry. But not like the tears, I try to keep them from falling, but I can feel it even though I didn't have that experience. For 15 years before I talk about like trusting the process, before I got into entertainment, for 15 years I worked in healthcare as an EMT. So I've seen a lot, a lot. I've seen people in their worst of times. I mean, when you're coming into the emergency department, that is literally you're choosing sometimes life and death. So I've
Yeah.
taken it also into this field where now I'm able to connect. I can connect with people. You know what I mean? All ages because of the experience that I've had as an EMT. But
Hmm.
yeah, empathy is definitely a big one. But it's something very hard to explain when you work as an EMT and you're working in trauma. Even of course you're doing this because this is your love and your passion for it, but it's almost as if you disconnect because if you don't, you won't be able to take care of the patient. You won't be able to like
Right.
physically like be there, and you'll be in shock. You ever seen someone cut themselves and they don't like blood and they just freak out? That's what it would probably
Hmm.
be like, because you wouldn't know what to do. You're like, oh my god, what's wrong? So yeah, empathy
Yeah.
is that's a really big one. That's a biggie. What do you think what do you think is the most important thing when you're creating your culture in business? Like, what is
Um,
your culture?
Mine
I guess
is,
I don't.
I would say it has to be meaningful. It has to be an
Mm,
experience that, so one of the things like I'm not really a big fan of, and I know it's happening a lot, especially in the past like year or so, is funerals. People go up and there's like this, they regret spending more time with this person, or they could have shared this story and stuff like that. So my thing, especially because back to the surprises, creating something that would create cherished memories for the rest of their lives. um, I think that's where I try to find that experience for people, and to
oh,
gravitate to that.
death is a very difficult thing, and so I don't know what when it comes to that, it's so difficult to grasp. I recently went home to Cleveland. There's a lot of people that were lost that were connected, like either I knew them or maybe it was someone that I'm close to and their parents passed away. It was so many
Mm,
things that happened in this past year. while amazing things were happening all at the same time. And I did speak at her funeral, and I'm thinking, I kept saying 46 years old. But then as I got up to stand up to speak about all the amazing things and how she made me feel, I started to look out at the crowd, and I realized at that moment that it really has nothing to do with the duration of her life. It was what she donated, how she made people feel. And at that
Yeah.
moment, I realized, hey, I need to write a book. So I started writing a book titled The Mirror That You Don't Want to See. And I say because, during the course of our time that last year until the point where she, transitioned, I could literally see her going in a wrong direction, if that makes any sense. I see it, I can feel it. Like, please, you got to get this in check. Sometimes we're always so, like we were talking about, like giving, 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 and not receiving
Mm-hmm.
that back. I really sometimes feel like she was that person. Like sometimes when you can worry yourself literally to death, that's a real thing. And I really hope people really start choosing themselves and choosing love and knowing that no matter what season that you're in and what's going on, that you are enough. Like you really are enough, and you can make it, and we can do this. We can all do this. And it's okay. If you got to get therapy, you got to go get help, you need healing, whatever that is. Because I don't know why people shy away from that. Because I did therapy for a few weeks. I did it for like 6 weeks. I had a plan. I had a game plan. I said, I'm coming in here. And when the therapist laughed, I said, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Like, we don't need to, I just need to have a safe space where I can,
Yeah.
talk about some things and figure it out and give me some tools on how I can deal with this, and so that I can continue to move forward, because that's the only way that we can go. We can only move forward, right? So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. What are some of the biggest I mean, what can I say? What are some of the skills that you think it takes, like, to be a leader? Because I think that one of the biggest things that I love is that you and everyone that has been on this platform has really stood up, as a leader, just coming on and giving your time and an entire hour sharing just a conversation about you and your thoughts. So, what do you think is some other skills when it comes to leader?
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, pure as you are. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. I
Hugs.
mean, yeah. So one of the, because I've recently got into a leadership position for a computer graphics conference called CGraph. And it happens, it's for an international student, but I'm in charge of the student
Mhm.
volunteer stuff, so it's helping students plan with that. And I have a small team of like 6 people of that. So one of the things that I try to look out for in my leadership stuff is to look after your team, because then they'll take care of everything else. So making sure, so I really encourage people to do like the informationals, really pay attention of like their person's life. What are they going through right now? So during the times when like, okay, they're going to have something busy, like they have like some special occasion coming up or tragedy or learning family members and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Really, so the active listening. And that's where the empathy comes in, because then you understand like, okay, okay, this just happened in your life. You need a few days off. So that's typically the
Yes.
step. Or, you see active leaders seeing right now, if you're working in a major corporation, they're paying their employees more to take care of things. They deserve that bonus or that pay rise because they're going through this. So like the essential workers, for example, because I used to be a store associate. So I
Mm.
also understand the other side. You going through these different customers coming through, checking out and stuff like that. I would say another trait. Um, Also help people rise up,
Taking
because
notes.
you're not going to be on this be on this together. So I try to train people, especially people of color, because that's been a whole another thing too, racial injustice and finding people. So I'm always searching for people of color to, okay, you deserve to get to that next level, get to that next stop. Um, and so I take that training, like if it's like courses and stuff like that. Is there free?
Mm.
There's tons of virtual conferences. If there's any free ones that I can see, as professional development, you know, um,
That's a biggie.
and really pay
Personal
attention to,
development is a biggie.
you know,
I was saying
yeah,
personal
pay
development is a
attention to that stuff.
biggie. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
personal and
How do I remember?
professional.
It just happened this morning on Clubhouse, another
Yeah,
Clubhouse. We were talking to a young lady, me and my sponsor of this show, and I think he was asking her like, what kind of books do she read? You know, like what does she feed her mind soul with? And she was saying, you know, like poetry and stuff like that. And he's like, no, like what do you read to like develop yourself personally? And she just was like, mm-mm. And he's like, yes, you need to get to that right now. And lately, you know, I read at least a book a week, but lately I've been on Audible. I absolutely love it. I feel like
mhm.
I go through more books. I go through even more books. I could just sit there and just like listen to the entire book in like 7 or 8 hours while I'm working at the computer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it's so cool. Have you
That's another
tried it?
question because I had a, well, that's the funny you brought that up. I had a, because I do this, I'm part of this small, like, we do a couples group thing, and we're going to do this thing like every month. Everyone's reading different books, and we're talking like a highlight from that chapter or whatever. And one of the people
Uh-huh.
that brought it up was some of these audiobooks now have these book tracks. So now there's like sound effects and stuff to that. So I don't know if you listen to any books that have like a soundtrack
I,
or a track. So you hear like, so a certain, like, especially if it's
yeah.
a fiction book and you hear like, okay, you're now going through the forest and you hear the rustling of the trees and stuff like that as the person speaking
Oh,
to it. So I don't know if you heard
oh,
that
how
on an
cool is
audio
that?
book
No,
before, and
haven't.
I
I
haven't.
look
So I
it
was like,
up and
oh,
I
I
want
don't.
to experience. I want to experience that.
Yeah. So it's like
Wow, that
it's almost
sounds
like you're listening to a podcast and
amazing.
you hear all the sound effects and stuff. I never heard of anything like that before, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah.
No, neither have I, but I'm gonna write that down. Sound effects. That would probably I would probably have to be listening to maybe some fiction or nonfiction, maybe books. I
But
don't know.
yeah, going
Lately,
back
I've
to
been
the
on personal
books.
development. Mm-hmm. Then
Yeah,
let's go back
I
to
try
the
to split my
books.
books between professional development and just an easy read kind of thing, just to switch gears kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of split that for my reading. Yeah.
You're into graphic design, but I am going to give you this gift because I have a sponsor for my IG Live series. That is you. Is that you?
Hey, there we go. There's the energy.
I know I'm gone, but it's all about you. Okay. So this is a digital business card. Oh my goodness. Basically, you know, you're in the tech world. You just scan it and it literally comes up on the person's phone like a little app. And all of your Instagram, your Twitter, the website, there's the company, all of that right here, the email, phone number, all of that is right there.
Yeah,
So if you're in the store, we're like 6 feet, 6 feet.
right.
Here you
Keep it
go.
safe.
You can
Got it, right?
right. Exactly. So shout out to my sponsor, 10K Cards. This is your gift because I tell everybody, and I know I don't want it to sound like a pitch at all because I'm so genuine about this, but I
Yeah,
really appreciate your gift of time. Like you're giving me something that you cannot get back. Like we're spending it right now. Like we're spending this social
exactly.
media in all of this currency right now and we can't get it back,
That's
and I
one of
want
the
you to know how much I appreciate you.
And I really appreciate you. You know, you could have been doing something else. You could have asked somebody else during this time. And and now we're doing this. We're doing it. We could have been doing other anything else, but we're taking this time. And everybody who's here right now too. You could have been doing
Thank you. I
something else, but
know
you
for an
decided to
entire
spend
hour
time
they're
with this
hanging out with
conversation.
us.
Yeah,
They're
hanging
watching
out
us
with
like they're
you.
watching
And I
Netflix.
just like
Yeah,
the
Netflix and chill. IG.
the unscripted conversation that
It's
we have. We're just
unscripted.
giggling and being
Oh
real,
gosh.
and
I was like,
you know.
everyone, I'm telling you, everyone is okay with just they have not asked me, well, what are we gonna be talking about, or can you send me? Everyone's just been like, okay, I'm in, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I've had some amazing people. I know you peeked in and out, and I really appreciate
I
that too,
did.
because this is,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're a guest, but you've also seen the show, so it's like, oh my god, I got to talk to Anthony Hamilton, and it was just so much fun. It was almost like we
Hmm.
put the titles and all of that to the side and we just have fun and laugh and talk about love and relationships and just random things and looking at the comments and laughing, and that's just what it's about because this is I'm telling you, if I really paid attention, even though I'm very busy during this time, if I really paid attention to my reality, like snap out of like the busyness and everything, I would probably go realizing that I'm not really going out like I usually do. I'm a social butterfly. All of
Hmm.
that is really hot. And it's been almost a year. The last time I was out, for me, I have not been flying anywhere. The last time I was out was in March. I had an event that I had co hosted in Kansas in March, and that was it. I was in California, February, I think it was, for Oscars. And
Yeah.
then I went home in January in Cleveland, and that was my only trips. That was one, two, three. That was it. And I'm here. I am going to speak in Brooklyn this month. But even my son was like, "What? Are you serious? Like, you're going to be safe?" Like, he was serious, like looking at me like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this thing. We'll be okay. Put the mask on, be safe, 6 feet, all of those things. I'll take the measures, but at some point, you gotta step outside. You got to step outside.
Yes.
But
That's
the
another
beautiful
thing.
thing is I've seen people outside. Didn't you see people outside? Oh my God, they're riding
Hmm.
bikes, families
Hmm.
together again.
I know there's
We
no
can look at the beautiful
technology.
thing.
I
Yes.
think like kids playing like with sticks and stones, and you play like I used to play games like the floor is lava kind of stuff. You can't touch the ground kind of stuff. I love seeing that stuff, and then really encourage people to like go and take a walk if it's around your block. If it's safe to
Oh
do
my
so.
gosh.
Keep your distance, wear your mask and stuff like that too. But yeah, me and my girlfriend, my partner, we usually go out we try to do every weekend. We try to go to find a little park here in the Austin area where it's not crowded, and we just do a walk for a couple hours and stuff like that, or do a hike and do something different. So it kind of changes it up. So it just doing not getting cabin fever and doing the same routine over and over again because they're
Yeah.
not motivated by it. So yeah,
That is
definitely
so
take care of
beautiful.
yourself.
Yeah. You gotta do that. I did a few hiking here in Connecticut. We have some really beautiful parks here. So I've been
Oh
doing
yeah,
that in the summertime. But then there was a time where I was feeling anxiety because there were so many people out, more than
yeah.
usual at the parks. So it was like,
Hmm.
okay, you go ahead and walk ahead, and then I'll start keep walking and get up this hill. But it was so many people. But then I took a step back and I'm like, this is actually beautiful to see people outside and the kids riding bikes, because that was a lost art. They were just on their games, and you don't see them out doing hopscotch and tic tac toe and all of that stuff that we did, growing up.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely
Hmm.
beautiful. I want to talk about, before as we end, like as we get closer to the end, the company, like with the web design products that you offer, and the nonprofit, and one of maybe some of the causes that you support. I would love to hear that. I know that you're definitely all
Yeah.
for NAACP and
Yes.
empowering our
Yeah.
people.
I think
Yes.
the one of the coolest things that happened during the pandemic is people reached out to me about creating websites. And I was like, okay, I'm doing pretty okay with the company that I'm at, and I love that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I can do this, on the side. And then I was like, instead of paying me for it,
Mm-hmm.
it's been but going back into the trevorromain.com/shop, and people have been buying products, and then those products are going to nonprofits
Write that down.
around the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like with children's books and with movies and DVDs and stuff like that. So it's kind of like the win-win-win. So one, you get your design needs met. I build a portfolio. The company gets some sales and some support, and then nonprofits are getting donations of gifts,
That's a
that
win-win.
they would, instead of pay for, getting books and stuff, they now got this donation. So that's one of the things. And then with the company, there's a military arm to it too, of a nonprofit called Comfort Crew for military kids, and they give resiliency resources to families that are going through deployments, or going through like when loved ones come back who served, and they're having like visible and invisible injuries.
Uh-huh.
So there's resources that goes to those families and resources and stuff. And that's comfortcrew.org. Um, there's other
Oh,
nonprofits I help support. One
wow.
is Minnie's Food Pantry, leaded up by Cheryl Action Jackson, and that in the Dallas Fort Worth area. feeding families that, going through food shortages, and everyone's felt hunger at some point in their life. So that they do really incredible work. The Green Team Helping Hands in Greensboro, North Carolina, that came out. I designed their logo. I said I was a student. I can use my scholarship money to donate. I reached out to
Uh-huh.
them, and I saw they called themselves the Green Team, but I didn't see no green anywhere. And I was like, I want to design your logo, and so I designed the
Oh
logo,
my
and then
gosh.
a company reached out saying like, we'll put that on a t-shirt. And that was like the first time I had my design on some clothing, and I was like,
I know
this
you were
is so
like,
cool.
ah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh man, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's a great
And
feeling.
then so that was a good thing. And then I designed their website, and they were just amazed. And I was like, yeah, I could design some stuff. And then like tons of celebrities been trying to support it as well. And it's my good friend Ashley Benton, and she's a like carrier too. And the Special Olympics, I helped them out. The NAACP, where I'm getting volunteers and people of color. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
It is so many. I think one question would be like, how do you, I know that you probably heard this before, how do you balance?
Google Calendar. You get the notifications. I do this. If it's not on my calendar, it's not going to get done. It's kind of the mentality. And that's how I kind of balance it, and tracking how much time things take. And you know it's and also one of those things, if I can't do
Yeah,
it,
job
then
well
I'll be like,
done.
oh, I know. Yeah, and then I'll that's the thing, I find people of color who can also do this. If I can't do this design, I'll refer to another person of color, because that's how we raise the culture, that's how we help each other
Yes.
out. you know
Yes.
Sometimes they'll be like, can you do it? And I'll be like, I know, my friend Desmond does graphic design. I refer him, and then he gets that support, and then you're appreciative because you're the one who referred to that person. So I always try to think of other people, too. It might be better that way. I've seen a lot of this. I've seen more opportunities through kindness than like ego or anything else, than it's something of self-serving, you know?
It, I mean, I always say that you bringing value, and I'm sure I've seen that somewhere, but it's a really true statement that value is the new currency. That's a really
Yeah,
real
exactly.
thing. Yes, our name is Money in the Bank. The usernames are always, oh my God. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much. This is awesome, is what she said. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. Someone asked me, what is that down there says support, share, and tell? I'm like, well, as a creator, influencer, all of these new titles, influencer is really,
Yeah.
I don't know, how long has that been around?
I
That
don't know, it's
title.
been a little
So it's
bit.
a
What does it
way,
mean?
I really appreciate, I know exactly. So, but I really appreciate that people would take the time to donate into the show. But on a really serious note, I was talking to a business partner of mine, and we were talking about charities and something too that's really good that we could probably donate into. So if you could get it, if you get an opportunity, if you could send me
Of
some
course.
links, so we would be happy
Yeah.
to make a donation into you. You're involved in so many things, but I'm sure you got some allocated funds we can
Oh,
send.
I
Yeah, yeah. I was just
yeah.
having that conversation. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a foundation, but let me see. I'm gonna figure out something. And here you are with all these amazing things. So
All
yeah,
books
yeah,
and
yeah. Now I have an answer. So I would be happy to. So please, 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 like send me links, and I would definitely make sure that we send over some funds, because you're oh my gosh, you are definitely not only a brand but a philanthropist, and just great for humanity. So kudos, kudos. I'm giving you your roses. Pretend.
and I'm giving you good vibes and good energy. Straight to you.
That's
There you
oh,
go.
I
Catch it.
live
There
with
we go.
that.
Everybody
Yes,
gets
I
the super
got it.
hearts. I'm getting hearts too. There you go. To everybody else who's in this. This has been too much fun.
I'm all about no, really. I'm all about the positive vibes. I need all of that. I
Oh
will
yeah.
down anything other than that. I shut down. I'm out of the room, even though my body could still be here. I'm gone. I just don't. I don't do that at all. good. I'm getting older and I want to like protect this and this at all costs. Oh my God, I want to protect this. So, is there anything else you want to say before I ask this last question? You want to send
I guess,
everyone,
I
maybe if
guess,
they need to, go ahead.
yeah, I would say, I guess, I challenge everyone to do an act of kindness in the next 24 hours, and then to do that for
Ah,
the next, for the rest of their lives to somebody else.
I love that
So
act of
for me,
kindness.
I'm gonna give you potential guests for your show, for example. That would be my
Okay.
act of kindness for the day.
And that
Because
just
you're
made
doing
me
such
really
amazing
excited.
work.
That just made me really excited. Yeah. Oh
Because it's
my
fun,
gosh.
you're gonna
Who can
surprise
it be?
somebody else.
No,
You're like,
it
hey,
really
you're like,
is. Oh my gosh.
I'll be
Not
like, hey, bro, what's
not to
going
make this
on? You know,
not to
I
make this
kind of,
conversation longer but longer. I recently had Parnell Damone Marcano from Greenleaf on, right? So I reposted the video, but I added the little Jeopardy and guess who, and tap in so you can find out. I put the he's a guest star on
uh-huh.
Greenleaf. It was just so much fun. The stories can be so much fun, and I'm like, oh my God, guess who? Guess who? And so that would have people tap in so they can see. But he was absolutely a whole ham, and I don't even eat it, but it was so much fun. I do not eat pork whatsoever, but he was so much fun, and I just want to do it over and over and over again. So yeah, I'm looking for. It's going to be just like that story. It's like guess who? I can't wait. Thank
Guess
you.
who?
Wow.
Of course.
So at the end of every show, oh God, this part, I always ask if you could give us one word or a sentence, something to motivate, inspire as we continue to move forward. Because that's the only way we want to go. We don't want to go the other way. We want to
Like
go
one, like
forward.
one word.
You have a choice. You can either do one word or a sentence.
Mm, I think for, especially this is Black History Month,
Yes.
I'm gonna use the quote from Maya Angelou.
Oh
I
God, I got to
stand
sit up for
as,
this.
I stand as one, but I come as 10,000. I would say that.
Oh,
I would
yes.
say everyone to be in that space where you're with your ancestors. You see like T'Challa and you're with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That would be and that's what I live and breathe. I live and breathe that quote. So any space I'm in, like I'm talking to you right now, like I think of all my past
They're
relatives,
like,
all the family. They're
yes.
like, we are cheering you on, we are rooting you up, we're being there with you. Yeah, I would say
Oh,
that
I
quote.
took that quote one time when I my first one of my first workshops that I did. I thought about that because I was like, I am not alone. They are all standing with me, strong, 10,000.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Love, light, and energy to you as you continue on this journey, Mr. Alex Bryant.
Thank you,
Okay?
Mr.
Ah,
Antel.
all right, let's
Eh,
do this. Let's thrive, okay? Let's
yeah, we're
continue to
ready.
thrive. And I know that you have a busy schedule. Do not forget to send me those links. I'm
I
really
won't.
serious. We have
Yeah,
we're looking to send out. So definitely do that, okay? Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Oh my God, we had how many people? I never look at that, but wow. Yep, they said they love that quote. Okay, bye bye.